All right, so today we're diving into something a little bit different, maybe not the most, cheerful topic, but definitely important. We're talking final expense life insurance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to be looking at some marketing material from Buckalew Financial Services for this deep dive.
Okay, sounds good.
We're going to try to make this as engaging as possible.
Of course, always.
Even though it is, we're talking about end-of-life stuff.
Right, it's not the most, upbeat topic, but it is important.
Yeah, super important. And actually, what's interesting is that when you think about planning for this kind of stuff, it's really an act of love.
It really is. It's taking care of your loved ones and making sure they're not, burdened with these unexpected costs during a difficult time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point because it's so easy to get caught up in like the financial details of it, but the emotional aspect is huge. So let's kind of break it down, for people who maybe aren't as familiar with this. What exactly is final expense life insurance and what makes it different from traditional life insurance?
Yeah, so final expense life insurance, it's sometimes called burial insurance or funeral insurance.
Okay.
They all mean the same thing.
Got it.
It's basically a way to cover those end-of-life expenses that pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Things like funeral costs, outstanding medical bills, maybe even credit card debt.
So it's like a very targeted type of life insurance.
Exactly.
Focused on those end-of-life costs.
Exactly. And because of that, it's generally more affordable.
Okay, that makes sense.
Than a traditional life insurance policy because the coverage amounts are lower.
Got it.
And it's often a lot easier to qualify for.
Oh.
Even if you have some health concerns.
That makes sense because you're not trying to like replace your income or create this massive inheritance or anything. It's really about providing that financial cushion for your loved ones.
Exactly.
At a very specific time.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. Now, the source material actually mentions that it's sometimes called burial insurance or funeral insurance.
Right.
Is there a difference or are those just different names for the same thing?
It's really just different names for the same thing.
Okay.
I think they highlight that primary purpose of it.
Yeah.
Which is making sure there's money to cover funeral costs, which, as you know, can be very expensive.
Oh, yeah. I've heard stories of funerals costing, upwards of $10,000, even more in some cases, and I can only imagine how stressful that would be.
Absolutely.
On top of everything else a family's dealing with.
Right, and that's where this insurance can really provide peace of mind.
Yeah.
Knowing that your loved ones won't have to, dip into their savings or go into debt to give you a proper send-off.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let's get down to like the nitty-gritty here. What are some of the specific benefits of final expense insurance that make it so appealing?
One of the biggest draws, I think, is the guaranteed acceptance option that many plans offer. So this means that you can get coverage even if you have pre-existing health conditions that might disqualify you from traditional life insurance.
So no medical exams or anything like that?
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay, and what about the affordability? Is it really as budget-friendly as it's made out to be?
Yeah, it's designed with fixed incomes in mind. So the premiums are generally fixed.
Okay.
Meaning you pay the same amount each month.
Got it.
And the coverage amounts are lower, like we talked about.
Yeah.
So the premiums tend to be more manageable.
So it's like setting aside a small amount each month so you know that it's taken care of
Yeah.
without having to, stress about it.
Exactly.
Okay, that's really appealing, especially for folks who are living on a fixed income.
Right.
And what I find interesting, too, is that the source material talks about how flexible it is.
Yes.
The death benefit isn't just limited to funeral costs.
Right. It can be used for anything.
Really? So they could use it to pay off debts or medical bills or just have a little extra cushion.
Exactly. Just a little extra support.
Okay, so it's like providing a safety net.
Exactly.
For your loved ones.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be really valuable. I mean, not just for covering the funeral costs, but just for that overall, financial security.
It is.
Okay, so I'm curious, how does it actually work? What are the mechanics of a final expense insurance policy?
So it starts with choosing a policy and an insurance provider.
Okay.
And that's where doing your research is important. You want to look at things like the coverage amount, the monthly premium, any additional features that might be included.
Right, so it's not as simple as just saying, I want this, sign me up.
Exactly.
There are decisions to be made.
Yes, there are. And that's why it can be really helpful to talk to a financial advisor.
Okay.
Who specializes in this area. They can guide you through the process, answer your questions, and help you find the right policy for you.
That makes sense. So speaking of, finding the right policy, how does someone determine how maxi-age coverage they need? Is there a magic formula, or is it more of a personalized thing? It's definitely more personalized. The source material from Buckalew Financial Services suggests that you consider a few things. First, think about the type of funeral or memorial service you want,
Okay.
because costs can vary widely.
Yeah, I mean, a simple cremation is going to be a lot less expensive than
Yeah.
a big burial with all the, extras and everything.
Right, and some people have very specific wishes, like a certain cemetery plot or lavish reception.
It's almost like planning a wedding. You have to create a budget based on,
It is like planning a wedding.
yeah,
It's just a farewell party instead
it's a
of
celebration, yeah.
Yeah.
So funeral costs are the first piece of the puzzle. What else should people factor into that coverage amount?
You should also think about any outstanding debts or medical bills you want to cover,
Okay.
so that your loved ones aren't burdened with those.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're giving them kind of a clean slate,
Exactly.
financially
Yeah,
speaking.
right.
Okay. And then finally, I guess some people might want to factor in a little something extra for their family.
Right, like a little financial gift. Yeah, a little legacy.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a fortune, but
It doesn't.
even a small cushion can.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of final expense insurance, is that it allows for that flexibility.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, we've been talking a lot about final expense insurance, but what about traditional life insurance? Are they interchangeable, or do they serve totally different purposes?
They really serve different purposes.
Okay.
And the source material actually talks about this.
Yeah.
So both types of insurance provide a death benefit to your beneficiaries,
Right.
but they have distinct characteristics and they're designed for different situations.
So it's not that one's better than the other.
Exactly.
It's about choosing the right tool for the job.
Exactly. One key difference is the application process. We talked about the guaranteed acceptance with final expense insurance,
Right.
which can be a big advantage, especially for those with health concerns.
Yeah, you don't have to go through all the hoops
Right.
and the medical exams. Exactly. Traditional life insurance often involves a more rigorous underwriting process.
Okay.
They want to assess your overall health and risk factors,
I see.
which can make it more challenging to qualify for.
Especially if you have some pre-existing conditions.
Exactly. And traditional life insurance policies also tend to have larger payouts
Okay.
because they're designed to provide income replacement for your family
Got it.
or cover wider financial needs.
So it's long-term financial security versus those more immediate end-of-life expenses.
Right. And because of that larger payout, the premiums are typically higher.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like choosing between, a high-powered sports car
Right.
and a reliable sedan.
I like that analogy.
Both will get you from point A to point B, but they offer
Yes.
different levels of, speed and luxury and, of course, cost.
And just like with those cars, the best choice really depends on your needs and your budget. Well said. So just to recap, final expense insurance is all about covering those immediate end-of-life costs, providing that peace of mind for you and your loved ones.
Yes.
It's accessible, it's affordable, and it's flexible.
Yes.
Traditional life insurance, on the other hand, is more about long-term financial planning,
Right.
providing that larger safety net for your family.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about choosing the right tool for your financial goals.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's address some of the common myths or misconceptions that people might have about final expense insurance. Because, let's be honest, the insurance world can be confusing sometimes.
It can be.
Yeah.
There are definitely some myths out there. One of the biggest ones, I think, is that you have to be a certain age
Oh, yeah.
to qualify for final expense insurance.
Like it's only for seniors who are... Yeah,
right,
you can get-
exactly.
but-
But that's not true.
Yeah,
While it's true that a lot of people who purchase it are seniors,
yeah.
there's no hard and fast age limit. Some insurance companies offer plans for people as young as 50.
Wow. So it's not about age, it's about recognizing the value of pre-planning and protecting your loved ones, regardless of where you are in life.
Absolutely. Another common myth is that it's too expensive,
Right? I've heard of that.
but we talk about how it's designed to be affordable,
Yeah.
even on a fixed income.
And the fixed monthly payments make it really easy
Exactly.
to budget for.
Right.
And then another misconception that I've heard is that you don't need it if you already have savings or investments,
Right.
but those funds might be for other things.
Exactly. They might be earmarked for something else.
Right. Or tied up in accounts that aren't easily accessible.
Right. And final expense insurance provides those dedicated funds,
Yeah.
specifically for those end-of-life costs.
Okay, so it's not about replacing those other forms of financial planning. It's about adding another layer.
Exactly.
Okay, that's some really good stuff to keep in mind. So we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive. We've explored, how it works, compared it to traditional life insurance. Right.
Debunked some common myths.
Right.
I'm feeling a lot more informed.
Me too. It's been a great discussion.
Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to the source material from Buckalew Financial Services. They've got this catchy tagline, I can't get out of my head. If you don't know what to do, better call Buckalew.
It is a bit cheesy.
Yeah.
But it does highlight an important point. Sometimes it's helpful to have a professional in your corner.
Especially when it comes to something as complex as insurance.
Absolutely.
Right? A financial advisor like Mr. Buckalew can really help you sort through all the options.
Yeah.
Answer your questions. Find a policy that works for you.
Exactly like having a personal guide.
Yeah. And while we've learned a lot from this material, it's always wise to do your own research.
Of course.
Compare quotes from different providers, maybe even consult with a financial advisor.
Yes, informed decision-making is key. Well said. Now, as we head into the final part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question to ponder. We've talked about the practical and financial aspects of final expense insurance, but what about the emotional side of things?
That's a really important aspect to consider. It's not just about numbers and policies.
Exactly.
Right.
So my question for you, dear listeners, is this. If you were to pre-plan your final expenses, what specific things beyond just the financial costs would you want to ensure are taken care of? Think about the details that truly reflect your values, your wishes, the legacy you want to leave behind.
We'll explore those emotional aspects further in the final part of our deep dive, so stay tuned for more on that.
That's right. We'll be right back.
It's not just about, the money. It's about crafting a meaningful send-off that reflects who you were and what mattered most to you.
Yeah, that's such a powerful way to think about it. It's like writing your own final chapter.
Exactly.
Not just financially, but emotionally.
Precisely. Think about it this way. The choices you make about your final arrangements, the messages you leave behind, the causes you support, those all become part of your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And final expense insurance can help ensure that those wishes are carried out.
So it's not just about paying for a funeral, it's about shaping the experience.
Exactly.
Making it personal and meaningful.
For some people, it might be about making sure their funeral reflects their religious beliefs or their cultural traditions.
Yeah.
For others, it might be about supporting a charity that was close to their heart, or making sure a beloved pet is cared for.
I love that. It's about going beyond the practical and infusing those final moments with your personality and your values.
And you know what I find really heartwarming is that this process of pre-planning can actually be a gift to your loved ones.
Oh, absolutely.
It takes the guesswork out of a difficult time and allows them to focus on grieving and celebrating your life.
Yeah.
Rather than stressing over logistics and finances.
It's like giving them the gift of closure and peace of mind.
Exactly. And it can also be a way to spark those important conversations with your family while you're still here.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about your wishes openly can help everyone feel more prepared and emotionally supported when the time comes.
It's about taking control of the narrative and ensuring your story is told the way you want it to be told.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes that story goes beyond just the funeral or memorial service. I've heard of people using final expense insurance to fund a scholarship in their name or to create a special family gathering in their honor.
Wow, those are beautiful examples of how this can be a tool for creating a lasting legacy. It's about making a positive impact that resonates for years to come.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating. It's not just about insurance. It's about life love and the things that matter most to us.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into final expense life insurance.
Yes, we have.
Hopefully this exploration has given you a deeper understanding of what it is, why it matters, and how it can be a tool for both financial and emotional security.
Remember, it's not just about planning for the inevitable. It's about celebrating life and ensuring your legacy is honored in a way that feels true to you.
And if you find yourself needing some guidance on this journey, remember those wise words from our source material. If you don't know what to do, better call Buckalew. Until next time, keep diving deep, and remember, life is a journey, and every chapter deserves to be written with intention and love.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into final expense life insurance.
As we wrap up this exploration, it's really striking to me how much more there is to this topic than just numbers and policies.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've talked about, the costs and the benefits and how it all works, but there's this deeper layer here that's really about, love and legacy.
Exactly. And that's really what I want to focus on in this final part. Before the break, we asked our listeners to think about what specific things they'd want to ensure are taken care of beyond just the financial costs. So let's dive into that a bit more.
You know what I think is so fascinating is how final expense insurance can be a way to express your values and shape the way you're remembered. It's not just about, easing the financial burden. It's about crafting a meaningful send-off that reflects who you were and what was important to you.
That's such a powerful way to put it. It's like writing your own final chapter.
Exactly.
Not just financially, but emotionally.
Exactly. Think about it this way. The choices you make about your final arrangements, the messages you leave behind, the causes you support, those all become part of your legacy. And final expense insurance can give you the power to make sure those wishes are carried out.
So it's not just about paying for the funeral, it's about shaping the entire experience.
Yes.
Making it personal and meaningful.
Exactly. For some people, it might be about ensuring their funeral reflects their religious beliefs or cultural traditions. For others, it might be about supporting a charity that was close to their heart, or making sure a beloved pet is cared for.
I love that. It's about going beyond just the practical and infusing those final moments with, your personality and your values.
You know what I find really heartwarming is that this whole process of pre-planning can actually be a gift to your loved ones.
Absolutely.
It takes the guesswork out of such a difficult time and allows them to focus on grieving and celebrating your life.
Right.
Rather than stressing over logistics and finances.
Yeah, it's like giving them the gift of closure and peace of mind.
Precisely. And it can also be a way to start those important conversations with your family while you're still here.
Right.
Talking about your wishes openly can help everyone feel more prepared and emotionally supported when the time comes.
It's about taking control of the narrative and ensuring your story is told the way you want it to be told.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And, sometimes that story goes beyond just the funeral or memorial service. I've heard of people using final expense insurance to fund a scholarship in their name or to create a special family gathering in their honor.
Those are beautiful examples of how this can be a tool for creating a lasting legacy. It's about making a positive impact that resonates for years to come.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes this whole topic so interesting. It's not just about insurance. It's about life, love, and the things that really matter most.
Well said. Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into final expense life insurance. We hope this exploration has given you a deeper understanding of what it is, why it matters, and how it can be a tool for both financial and emotional security.
Remember, it's not just about planning for the inevitable. It's about celebrating life and making sure your legacy is honored in a way that feels true to you.
And if you find yourself needing some guidance along the way, remember those wise words from our source material. If you don't know what to do, better call Buckalew.
Until next time, keep diving deep. And remember, life is a journey, and every chapter deserves to be written with intention and love.